always a pleasure to have you aboard. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Greg. Thursday nights are the highlight of the week for me.
It's always a highlight to have you aboard as well. And I do like this suit. If you're watching on VSiN.com, YouTube TV, it's sort of like a black checkered / plaid suit. It gets an A+ from me. It is absolutely tremendous. And what is also tremendous is the slate of baseball that we've got as well. And I know you've got a little bit of fandom with the Red Sox, so we'll start there before we dive into my Milwaukee Brewers. And for Mets versus Red Sox, going to be Cutter Crawford on the mound for Boston, and Kodai Senga goes for the Mets. Mets, very slight underdogs, even money to +105, +110. And then with the Red Sox, they're between about -114 to -120 with a total of 9.5. How do you view this one? Because I do think that Cutter Crawford is a little bit of an undervalued pitcher with Kodai Senga. I have no problem trusting in him at home. On the road, a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, Kodai Senga is an elite strikeout pitcher, but on the road, we haven't seen the exact same numbers. I think there's a lot of upside with Cutter Crawford. He has a very high ceiling. The floor might be pretty low, but I think he can deliver against a New York Mets team that has the highest payroll in baseball, but they are well below 500 as well. And that's just not cutting it this year for this team. When you look at the Red Sox, they did drop a series to the Oakland Athletics, and that just simply can't happen. You can't afford to lose to the Oakland Athletics when you're a borderline playoff team. But the Mets are coming off a tough loss to the White Sox, 6-2. It started because of a Pete Alonso error today. That was very embarrassing for them. That was a tough loss. So neither team's really coming into the series with a lot of momentum, but I like the Red Sox at home. Again, Kodai Senga, elite strikeout ability, but the numbers are not great, especially on the road. And then Cutter Crawford, I'm going to trust in him in this spot just because the Red Sox offense. They know how to win. They know how to win at home. And they're very good at bouncing back. We've seen from Boston this year, at least, they stepped up against quality opponents. I'm not saying the Mets have a quality record, but they are a quality opponent, and they're going to challenge Boston in this spot. The Red Sox have scored 62 more runs this season. They're better in every aspect of the game, really, when you look at the stat sheet. And again, they've played better against better opponents. I think they're going to do that throughout this series, and I see them taking 2 of 3 from the New York Mets.
Yep, I do think so as well, and I see a little bit of an edge here with the Boston Red Sox. Wouldn't want to lay much more than what we're seeing right now, but I was willing to go in on the Boston Red Sox as well, and this is another case where I wouldn't want to lay much more with this team than what I'm seeing right now, but I'm willing to buy in on the short favorite. That would be the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers game. Freddie Peralta goes for the Brewers. Mike Soroka goes for the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves, they're between about -119 to -125, small plus price on the Brewers with a total of 9. And frankly, I think that this is a little bit correlated because I like the Braves. I also like the over because I think they get to Freddie Peralta, who's really struggled recently, and for the Atlanta Braves, nearly 2 home runs per game on the road this season. Getting a total of 9 seems a little bit low, and I think they just slugged their way to victory in a starting pitching matchup that is not so elite.
Yeah, I bet the Royals nerfed you today. I was sitting at the sports book, and this game was on the Braves against the Diamondbacks, and they came back from 4-1 deficit, and it was very fun to watch. It was the first time I've really sat down and watched the Braves offense in a while because I hadn't been betting on them. And Atlanta is just absolutely crushing the baseball behind Matt Olson and Austin Riley. Those guys led the Braves back into that battle. And I think for this price, this is a slam dunk home run, give it to me kind of game when you're looking at the Atlanta Braves here. They had a little bit of a tough stretch, but now they have some momentum coming off the win today. And I think they can carry this into Milwaukee. When you look at Mike Soroka, not the best numbers in the world, 23 innings on the mound this season. Hasn't really been pretty, but the thing about the Braves is if Mike Soroka could just be on the mound, that's a win for them. He hasn't been able to stay healthy over the course of his career, so just having him on the mound is something to cheer for. And then the Braves offense is also something to cheer for. So Mike Soroka doesn't have to be fantastic in this game for Atlanta to get the job done. The Braves have scored 130 more runs this season than their opponents. That includes 77 more home runs too. Milwaukee can't hit the same level that Atlanta can. And Freddie Peralta just has not delivered. 6-7 with a 4.4 ERA and a 1.26 whip. I think Atlanta's going to get to him. I think Soroka's going to be okay. He's only going to get better as the season goes on, but the offense is the real reason to bet on the Braves here.
Yep, and with Freddie Peralta, 1.5 home runs per 9 innings allowed. That is not Freddie Peralta like. He has had a rough season, and I think that continues against the Atlanta Braves. So we're in lockstep there as Tanner Kern, who does tremendous work at DraftKings. He's joining me right here on the Greg Peterson Experience on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, as we take a look at this Friday baseball slate. And this is one that we're in agreement on. It's the San Francisco Giants and the Washington Nationals game, and we're both betting on not the Washington Nationals. Jake Irvin is on the bump for Washington. Meanwhile, Alex Wood is on the bump for San Francisco. with the Giants are between about a minus 148 to a minus 165 favorite. But personally, I do like the fact that with the Giants, you're able to find even money / a little bit of a plus price on that run line. And Alex Wood has actually been strangely significantly better on the road than he has been at home. And I think this is a good time to reduce the juice, get a little bit of plus price on that run line.
This is a prime run line spot. When you look at the Giants, they have a better pitcher, a better offense. They're on the road, so they're guaranteed 9 at-bats. I love this play. San Francisco has been pretty good this season. This is going to quickly turn to a bullpen game. I just want to make that clear. Alex Wood's not going to go deep into this baseball game. He could go anywhere from 1 to 5 innings. I don't know what Gabe Kapler has planned for him. But the numbers haven't been great this season. 4.53 ERA with a 1.53 WHIP. Again, he still can deliver, though, when he wants to. I think we're going to see that against Nationals' offense. It's just been very shaky this season. Jake Irvin's going to pitch for Washington, 2-5 with 4.96 and a whip right around 1.5. I'll take Wood any day of the week over Irvin, even though both these guys' numbers aren't that good. And also, I'll trust the Giants in the spot, too. They're 28-21 on the road. The Nationals are just 15-32 at home. San Francisco scored 47 more runs this season than Washington. They have a much stronger offense. Again, 9 runs. Guaranteed the at-bats. I'm going to take it here all day long.
And if you look at the San Francisco Giants, because you mentioned Alex Wood, not necessarily going deep into games, they've got a 2.95 bullpen ERA since the beginning of the month of May. Nobody else in the National League has better than a 3.46. So that's a massive advantage. And the Washington Nationals, by the way, dead last in terms of National League bullpen ERA. So that just makes it all the better. We're in lockstep on that one. And I do think that this one is of intrigue as well, because you got the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds. Tommy Henry is going to be going for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ben Lively is on the bump for Cincinnati, and Cincinnati, slight favorite. They're between about minus 113 to a minus 120. Total on this game is a 10.5. Where do you stand on this one? Because you do have a Diamondbacks team that they actually lead the league in terms of runs per game on the road. Ben Lively's been one of the better pitchers for the Cincinnati Reds. It's not saying a whole heck of a lot when you're trotting out there Luke Weaver along with Brandon Williamson 2 out of every 5 days. But I think that this is a fascinating matchup and one that I set at a relatively similar line to what we've got right now up on DraftKings.
This is a great spot to take some plus money here. Diamondbacks blew a 4-1 lead to the Braves today, but they've been hitting the ball consistently, and that's huge. This is a positive sign for taking them with the plus money, because anytime I bet on a dog, I want a team that can score runs. Tommy Henry's going to pitch. You can't expect Tommy Henry to go out and win this game for you. 5-2 with a 3.89 and a 1.35 whip. There's nothing special about Henry, but there's also nothing special about Ben Lively. As you said, one of the better Reds pitchers, but that's not saying a whole lot. He's got a 3.7 ERA, 1.2 whip. He's going to need run support, but this Reds offense has really been lackluster since the end of the All-Star break. Besides a few really good performances, obviously, they put up double digits once, but still, I'm looking for the Diamondbacks to continue doing what they've done all season, hit the baseball, and their wins mean more to me in the National League West than the Reds do in the National League Central. So I think the Diamondbacks are a better team in this spot. Tommy Henry's going to be okay, but that Arizona offense is really going to deliver. And I just can't say the same thing about Cincinnati because we haven't seen that consistency since the end of the All-Star break.
And you led off the segment by talking about you were on a little bit of a Tigers versus Royals nerfy yesterday. And when it comes to Friday, it is going to be the Tigers who are going to be hosting the San Diego Padres, with Seth Lugo going for the Padres and Reese Olson on the bump for the Tigers. And I thought it was striking when doing the research on Seth Lugo. He's darn near league average and darn near everything. Nothing great, nothing terrible, other than the fact that he doesn't give out a lot of walks. But as we know, there's one place where the Detroit Tigers lack. That is with the bats, and that puts me on the Padres in the spot.
For a very fair price, too. This line continues to get bet up. I will take the Padres right now. I recommend you do as well. Get it in before it's at minus 160 tomorrow, so we could see that. Seth Lugo is going to pitch for San Diego, 3-4 with a 3.7 ERA, 1.25 whip. He isn't overpowering, so Detroit will have some opportunities to hit the baseball, but I think the Padres are going to be able to get to Reese Olson as well. When you look at the Padres team, they scored 61 more runs than Detroit. They've hit 31 more homers. I'm going to take the better bats here, and that is the Padres for a fair price. But get it now because it's continuing to get bet up.
Absolutely, and you're able to get the Padres at a plus price on the run line as well. Seems like you're going a little bit more money line. I'm going a little bit more run line, but regardless, we're both on the Padres in that spot as well. So I'm in total agreement there. And when it comes to being able to take a look at football, Tanner Kern, who is joining me right now, does tremendous work at DraftKings. He's one of the best in the business, and I'm going to start to dive into some actual games. And Take a look at week 1 next of the NFL season here on the Greg Peterson Experience on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.